Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode. This one I believe is super important because we're often taught how to help our children regulate, but we're not really taught how to help ourselves regulate. And this might be whether we are with or without our children, or during the middle of one of our children's meltdowns. It is so important to know the skills and have the foundations to be able to self-regulate in any given moment. So I don't want you to think this is going to be extra work or it's going to be difficult or something else that I have to add to my plate, more strategies, more techniques. It's really about understanding your nervous system and understanding that that is the foundation for everything else, because your children don't calm down by themselves, they calm down with us and through co-regulation. So remember that you cannot co-regulate from a dysregulated state yourself, because children pick up on our presence, on our breath, on our tone in which we're talking, on our posture, the way we hold ourselves, and the pace in which we're moving, far more than what we're actually saying, our words, what we're talking about. I have touched on this previously in some of my other videos, but children regulate through or co-regulate through the mirror neurons. So they are going to basically mimic what we do. So if they see you getting upset or getting angry over dropping a glass of milk, for example, well then they're going to mimic that, and that becomes their go-to, and that's what their mirror neurons fire and think, well, if you're getting upset and angry, well then I'll be doing that too. And it's the same with co-regulation. If you're calm and you're at ease and they're having a meltdown, that's when those mirror neurons really fire, and that's when your kid is going to start calming down. They're going to start feeling regulated because you're regulated in the first place. So this is something that you can't really fake. You can't pretend you're calm when internally you're bubbling away, you're fuming, you're angry, you're exhausted, you're feeling very dysregulated. You can't actually fake that. Kids are going to pick up on that. So as much as you can try, you're going to learn pretty quickly that it's just not going to work with your children. You really need to be calm within yourself. And this is so many parents come to me and they feel so guilty. They say, oh, I lost it with my child. I absolutely screamed at them and I was so heated in the moment. But then afterwards I felt terrible. I felt guilty. I just couldn't believe I actually did that to them. And I know they're only a toddler or 2 or 3 or 4, however old your child is. But I get this repeatedly because they haven't been taught to regulate themselves. So whatever is going on in that situation, they can come in that calm space, and that's why they're firing up. So today we're going to touch on one of, I believe, the most important ways to regulate yourself, which is the breath work. Just breathing. This is one of the fastest ways to communicate safety to your child and to your child's nervous system, that you're feeling regulated, you're feeling calm, and then they're going to co-regulate with that calmness and then be in that calm space too. So we're going to go through some techniques, and these are not complicated. I'm going to give you some really basic techniques to try today, and these are absolutely accessible that you can use anytime and anywhere. You don't have to be at home, you can be at work, you can be in the supermarket, you can be driving your car. And I actually tell a lot of people, the more you practice these at different occasions, the more you draw your attention to your breath and just practice, the easier it's going to become, and then that just transfers into your everyday lifestyle. So we're going to start with some deep belly breathing. And you might not know this yet, but you might be a chest breather, which just means you're breathing shallowly into the chest area. So a great technique is just place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly, and just take a few inhales and exhales, and notice whether as you're inhaling your belly is expanding, the hand is moving out, or whether it's your chest. And that's going to tell you pretty quickly whether you're breathing into your chest, which is actually linked to being in a stress state, or whether you're breathing into your belly. So what we really want to practice is deep belly breathing. with a slightly longer exhale. This is a great way to calm yourself down. You can do it at any time. You don't have to use your hands. So you might be driving the car. Just take an inhale, and then you can even use your mouth and purse your lips like you're pretending to blow out a candle, and that really helps elongate the breath. So it helps elongate those longer exhales for you, which actually it's the exhale which activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is known as the rest and digest state. So that's going to help you feel really calm and really relaxed. So if you'd just like to practice taking a few deep breaths, and then with the longer exhales, and that's really going to help yourself feel nice and calm. And that's a technique you can do anytime, as I mentioned previously, and it's a great one to do if your child is going into a meltdown. You can take a few deep belly breaths and then walk in there and then think, okay, right, let's now, I'm self-regulated, let's now help co-regulate my child. Another technique that's great if you're feeling anxious or if you're having a panic attack, for example, is a technique called box breathing, and this involves holds. So just be cautious, and I'd like to say, if at all you start to feel dizzy or lightheaded, just refrain from doing this straight away and go back just to your normal pace, your normal rhythm. But for this technique, it's inhaling for the count of 4, and then holding your breath for the count of 4, and then exhaling for the count of 4, and then holding your breath for the count of 4. So it's like you're doing it in a box. So you're inhaling for 4 seconds, holding your breath for 4 seconds, exhaling for 4 seconds, and holding your breath again for 4 seconds. That's a great technique to try, and if you are doing it regularly and you're finding it quite easy, you can even move up to counts of 5 or 6, for example. This is a technique that the Navy SEALs actually practice because they are in very highly stressful situations and scenarios when they're in combat, life or death situations, and it really helps give mental clarity, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms them down. So this is a great one for you to also try. The third technique we'll touch on today is something called the physiological sigh, which you may have heard from. There's a neuroscientist named Dr. Andrew Huberman, and he claims to date this is one of the quickest ways to calm yourself down. So if you are feeling yourself really stressed, really tense, it's a long inhale through the nose, followed by a small pause, and then a shorter inhale through the nose, and then a long exhale through the mouth. And if you would like to do an audible sigh, it's not necessary, but it is recommended. So long inhale through the nose, short pause, short inhale through the nose, and then a long sigh out through the mouth. And you only need to do that 2 to 3 times to feel the benefits and feel the effects of your nervous system starting to calm down, the autonomic nervous system. So they are 3 great techniques. I might actually give you one more. This is my favourite technique, so I can't leave this one out. It's called coherent breathing, and it's an inhale for the count of 5, followed by an exhale for the count of 5. And traditionally this is used through the nose, and I love this technique because of the simplicity of it, and it's also one of the most highly researched breathwork techniques out there. So there's loads of studies of the benefits of this one as well. There's lots of scientific papers. So if you are feeling stressed, practice this one. It's a minimum of 6 breaths. These techniques are really going to help you if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling anxious, if your child is having a meltdown and you really need to regulate first. These would be my 4 go-tos. Practice them as often as you can. Even if you're struggling to fall asleep, the longer exhales is a really good technique to help you drift off to sleep as well. If you've had a really stressful day, you're absolutely exhausted, but you're still a little bit wired, you can't fall asleep, practice those longer exhales, and that's going to help, again, activate that rest and digest, help calm you down, relax the body, and help you drift off to sleep. Remember that most parents don't need more information. They need the tools like breathing that actually work in the moment. When your child is screaming at you, or when you're running late and you're rushing your child, and everyone's just feeling absolutely dysregulated. So taking space safely is really important for yourself, that you say, okay, I just need a minute. I'm going to do my breathing so I am really regulated first. Then I can go and co-regulate whatever the situation might be. You could also name your state out loud. So you might choose to verbalize this. This is great. Okay, I'm feeling really angry right now. I'm going to breathe, and then go into your breathing techniques. And don't forget to just reset before the moments. You taking a moment out before you are transitioning with whatever it might be. And that's not just at the end of the day when you're exhausted, it's throughout the day. And this might be whether you're with your child or you're at work, and it might be between meetings. Reset, stop, calm yourself down, and then start again. It's very important to also know that regulation happens in the midst of what's happening with your child. So if your child is melting down, you're going in regulated, that's co-regulating. You're not regulating yourself after your child's calmed down for whatever reason. You are going in regulated, and that's when the regulation works with your child. So just know that you are not meant to do this alone. There is lots of support out there for you, and this can at times feel really hard. It can feel exhausting, overwhelming, and difficult as a parent, navigating especially these early formative years with your children. So when you regulate yourself, you're actually giving your child a nervous system that they can lean on for support and that co-regulation that they really need. And that's really one of the most powerful things that you can offer your child as a parent. Being there for them, sharing that emotional intelligence, and so that when they grow up, they're going to be capable in all different situations of being able to self-regulate and not escalating events that are within their control. Having that ability to calm themselves down when everything externally might be falling apart for them. Subscribe to the channel. I'd be so appreciative for more co-regulation languages, for more tips, more practical tools and advice, and I will again be touching on more breathwork, but leave a comment if there's anything you'd like me to cover, and I'll endeavour to do that in the next episode. Thank you.